like drugs? Do you like men? Do you like Vegas? Do you like cars? Do you like Big Cat? This is Big Cat. Say a prayer to Big Cat. Do you like having fun? Then Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is for you. Step into my office and let's talk about it. Actually, let's go outside. It's kind of warm in here. I stepped out into the sun, and immediately I was met by 100+ degree temperatures. I knew if I stayed there any longer, I would surely collapse from exhaustion and dehydration within moments. I had to get back inside. It was too much. The sun was too intense. I couldn't help myself. Once I got inside, I needed an immediate drink. Water. Juice. Anything. This will do. What is there to say about Terry Gilliam I haven't already said? We talked a lot about him and his directing style in my Brazil video, so check that out if you haven't. The man has a dark sense of humor and an eye for excess, which is really the perfect way I would describe Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. It's so garish and extravagant, I felt like my brain was going to explode in the first 10 minutes.
But once you get locked into a serious drug collection, the tendency is to push it as far as you can.
The film follows a journalist, played by Johnny Depp, and an attorney, played by Benecio Del Toro, as they make their way to the epicenter of debauchery. Or, in this case, the heart of Fear and Loathing. Las Vegas. It's Las Vegas. Very broadly, this is an anti-drug movie, which was the most surprising part of the film. It goes to extravagant lengths to point out the horrible potentials of coked-out, LSD-laden, alcohol-dense, mescaline-heavy drug binges, and what that could mean. Almost every scene, though, in this film seesaws between the two thematics that the title suggests, fear and loathing.
I hate to say this, but this place is getting to me. I think I'm getting the fear.
I just love the smell of fear.
Naturally, these two go through the euphoric highs that so many people love about drugs and psychedelics, but the combination of the two emotions in the title, fear and loathing, coupled with the constant upscaling of this drug binge, leads to some pretty horrible and wild minutes of film. It's two of the craziest hours in any film I've seen to date. Until the very end, I'd be lying if I said I knew what the f was going on at all. The opening captures the essence of the film, though, and it's one of the strongest points of the movie. We hard open on the pair driving to Las Vegas. Already smashed, we see them already reacting to their visions and explaining to a nasty-looking Tobey Maguire their voyage. God, it's so high energy. The editing, the filming, the performances, everything about this opening is so breakneck. Much like the rest of the film, it just doesn't stop moving. It cuts like crazy, people are screaming, there's stuff flying everywhere, Johnny Depp's talking an inner monologue, the camera's super wide and close and zipping around. It's nuts.
Terrible things were happening all around us. What are some golf shoes? Otherwise we'll never get out of this place alive. Impossible to walk in this muck. No footing at all.
But once they finally reach Vegas, things get significantly crazier. The LSD starts kicking in for Johnny Depp's character, and his quirky performance gets pulled up to 11. However, this is the most fun the film ever ends up being. It obviously has other moments of levity outside of this, but it felt like Gilliam really went wild with this sequence. There's these great dinosaur creatures, awesome use of projection to change scenery, cutting between reality and fiction, and of course, Gilliam's wonderful trademark style. Johnny Depp is terrified of everything in this section. Everything gets crazier and crazier and worse, and he just gets more scared and more scared. This highlights the fear element of the fear and loathing that these drugs bring on, and it's constantly reinforced throughout a good majority of the film. One of the greatest moments of the film is the ending when Depp is listening back to recordings made after a night of insanity. He listens back to parts of his own memory that he says are scattered. Unlike the rest of the film, we only get bits of this night through the recorder. What I loved about this sequence is that it's so much like the rest of the film, but it's almost completely different than it. It's like Terry Gilliam is putting Johnny Depp's character in the realm of the audience, listening or watching back to parts of his life and realizing that it's pretty bad. Like, this is not good. All the things that he can barely remember from hearing these recorders is giving him that loathing.
Go on. Pay your check and get the hell out. You want me to call the cops? I'll call them.
Ooh, that's bad.
I think this is an incredibly unique film, and up until this point, you probably would think that I'm in love with it. You probably think that this is one of my favorite movies, because I've had nothing really but good to say. But it's a movie I kind of have a love-hate relationship with, much like the central performance given by Johnny Depp. It's like quirkiness explosion. The man is too much. Especially in the first 20 minutes, I hated his performance. I hated how he walked. I hated how he carried himself. I hated his mannerisms. I hated this performance from Johnny Depp. But there are moments when he dials it back just in the right way. The scene with the diner stands out when he's just quiet and somber, and he's kind of realizing, as us the audiences, that Benicio Del Toro and the situation he's in is pretty bad. And this is especially a stark comparison to Benicio Del Toro. Johnny Depp is just reacting to drugs like, whoa, this is so quirky right now. He's given this hammy-ass performance, and then you cut to Benicio Del Toro, who is fucking believable. He is so damn good in this. I couldn't believe my eyes. The scene in the bathtub, bro? Are you serious? The scene when he's vomited over the side of the car and spitting at a car next to him? Dog, it was so great. He was so good. And then you compare to Johnny Depp, who's just going, wow, look at me. He sucks. And like Depp's performance, the movie itself is only sporadically great. Most of it I can describe in the same way I would Depp. Quirky and zany, and that's really it. The diner scene and the bathtub scene are definite exceptions to this, but the vast majority of scenes go one of two ways. One, Depp is hopped up on drugs, meandering around some bright-colored hellscape, giving inner monologues about what he's thinking or feeling. Two, him and Del Toro go somewhere hopped up on drugs and absolutely wreak havoc. That's really it. Not much is connecting these scenes either, other than their love of drugs and wanting more. They just stumble between set pieces, destroying things, wreaking havoc, getting more drunk, or getting more stoned, or getting more high, and then ending in their hotel room, destroying it further and anything inside. It's pretty repetitive. The whole movie is fairly repetitive. They go somewhere, things happen, they end up at their hotel room, more things happen. They go somewhere else, things happen, they go to their hotel room, and things happen. It's just kind of a wake of destruction. A couple nights of debauchery strung together, which is giving you the illusion of a drug trip. There isn't much connecting. They just are going places and experiencing things. That's pretty accurate to a drug trip from what I understand, but it's not that exciting for a movie. It is just like, oh, we're here now, okay, and now we're here now. And occasionally this repetitive formula is excellent, where it's highlighting a crazy part of reality that these people are experiencing and giving it this edge of humor or something that is similarly real, but it's somber and kind of depressing and dark.
When a rabbit buys its own head up, I want you to throw that radio into the dump. Well, that's that.
Before we end off, I want to read a quote from the famous film critic Roger Ebert about this movie, because I find it very interesting. Here it is. If you encountered characters like this on an elevator, you'd push a button and get off at the next floor. Here, the elevator is trapped between floors for 128 minutes. And I love this quote, because I think it's completely wrong. I think Roger Ebert has a point, because these characters are insufferable. These characters are not good people. These characters are annoying. They're obnoxious. They're not good. They're just terrible. They're just terrible. Everywhere they go, they're horrible. And he's completely right. If you found them in an elevator, you would not want to get on that elevator. And if you're in there, you'd want to get off immediately, because they're insufferable. But I think what Roger Ebert is missing here is the fact that this is the point. This is the point. The point is that these guys are bad. They're insufferable. They're annoying. And in the end, they realize that too. And they come to terms with it. And that's the ultimate growth. I like when a movie has annoying, unlikable characters that realize this and come to terms with it and are either way worse or way better. I like when we get character arcs with unlikable characters. And I think that is one of the highlights of this movie, is that fact.
All those pathetically eager acid freaks who thought they could buy peace and understanding for $3 a hit. Who never understood the essential old mystic fallacy of the acid culture. The desperate assumption that somebody, or at least some force, is tending the light at the end of the tunnel.
I still don't think it's great. I still don't think that I would want to watch this a lot. But occasional viewings, sure. I think it could be an interesting background movie. It's just zany, it's crazy. You look up occasionally, and there's something nuts going on screen. And you look down, and you keep riding away, or doing what you were doing, folding laundry. And then you look up, and something else crazy is happening. It's a movie with crazy visuals, with crazy set pieces, that only loosely link together, with performances that are occasionally great by Johnny Depp, and absolutely masterful by Benicio Del Toro. Some great camera work by Terry Gilliam, and some interesting visual choices, especially near the start. But I think it peters off pretty fast. A lot of the formula gets repetitive, it gets kind of tired, and I found myself checking out at times. It does a good job wrapping things up, though, so I'd give it a pretty good recommendation. I think it's a good movie. I think it's solid. I think it's well made. I think there's a lot of merit to it. It just didn't quite click for me. I just checked out too much to give it a full pass from my great scale. So that brings us to the part of the show where we need to find the next week's movie. And to do so, I am simply going to think of a movie, and I'm going to say it out loud. One I have been wanting to watch for a while, naturally, as classic movies go, that I haven't, and that movie will be The French Connection. R.I.P. William Friedkin.